Thomas Patrick Ward, tuning the Sport and Icons.
All right, everyone, I hope you're all doing fantastic. Now, outside of me asking you guys and girls to subscribe if you're not already and click a cheeky thumbs up once in a while, I don't really ask you guys and girls for anything, do I? But on this one, I would appreciate it if you all can do me a favour, as much as you possibly can. Copy and share this particular video everywhere that you possibly can, whether it be here on YouTube, whether it be on your social media, especially your social media like Twitter and Facebook. Copy the link. I know you can't copy the link and share it onto your Instagram. Just take a screenshot with the title of this video and share it across Instagram. Copy me in that as well. But most importantly, copy in the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and most certainly the WBO. Copy them all in, because I'm going to be talking about Thomas Patrick Ward quite regularly going forward until we see Thomas Patrick Ward get his world title shot. And it's important that you guys and girls do all this, because when Tommy does get his world title shot, you can sit back knowing that you helped get him that world title shot, because he ain't going to get it otherwise. Without you and me, he ain't going to get that world title shot. And I'll explain why as this video goes along. Now, I know Tommy. I've met him, I don't know, so many times now, spoke to him so many times. One of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Now, firstly, okay, just to clarify, he doesn't know I'm doing this, okay? So he hasn't asked me to do it. I don't even know if he'd even like me doing this, okay? Because he's not one for being out there on social media, okay? He doesn't have a huge social media presence. He's not one of these kind of people that has to be in front of the camera every 30 seconds. He's not going to be driving past a coffee shop and have to take a picture of it, okay? Like many people do. If he's going to be giving away some turkeys at Christmas time to the homeless, he ain't going to be making a big song and dance out of it by taking photos. He will just do it, okay? That's the kind of person he is. He's a very to himself kind of person. He's a family man, okay? He's not one out there for boosting up his profile. That's why he doesn't do all the interviews or anything like that. You won't really see him out there calling out and insulting fighters just to try and get the profile, just to try and get the fight. That's not what he does. That's where you and me come into it, because we are in an era where if you don't have a huge social media presence, if you're not vocal out there, then promoters, sanctioning bodies don't really look at these kind of fighters to give them the world title opportunities. Thomas Patrick Ward has had 31 fights, and he's not even a mandatory yet. And it's not for the want of trying. It really isn't. Sure, he's got a lot of fights under his belt, but he's been chasing the world title shot for a long, long time, especially on Emanuel Navarette at Super Bantamweight. Now Emanuel Navarette has vacated that WBO belt and moved up to featherweight. Stephen Fulton got that WBO belt. Stephen Fulton, who was ranked behind Thomas Patrick Ward. In fact, he took on a guy, was it Angelo Leo or something like that? I forgot the guy's name. But either way, both of these were ranked behind Thomas Patrick Ward. But the reason that they got the world title shot ahead of Tommy Ward is because they're with the PBC, okay? Because they have a bit of a social media presence, okay? Because the PBC will take risks and gambles and speak to the sanctioning bodies. Thomas Patrick Ward hasn't had that. When he's with Frank Warren, for the most part, didn't do too much for him. Salita Promotions didn't do too much for him. Now he's with Matchroom, kind of with Matchroom. Is Eddie Hearn going to do something? I don't know, because when he was asked the weekend, can you get Thomas Patrick Ward a world title shot? He says, well, you know, we need to try and maybe get him into a mandatory position and then maybe try and force the champion to fight him. Even though he's got fighters like Akmadaliev on his own platform, that's a very easy fight to make, isn't it? Surely. But I understand why, because much like with Frank Warren, it's about ticket sales. Tommy's not a big ticket seller. Okay, that's the truth of it, okay? And promoters are not going to want to pay, say, the champion, because champions will demand quite a substantial purse, and rightfully so, of course, because they are champions. And, of course, pay Tommy when they may not get the money back through the gate revenue. That's how they look at it, okay? So that's the unfortunate side of boxing. But that's where you and I come into it, because we need to get out there so promoters and sanctioning bodies will look at it and go, okay, so the fans do want this fight. They do want to see Thomas Patrick Ward in there. That means they'll tune in and watch the fight. That means they'll buy the ticket. That's where you and I come into it. Because I do feel like I've let Tommy down a bit. He's never said anything to me or anything like that, and I don't get the impression that he's even thought about it. But I do feel like I've let him down a little bit, because I do talk about the heavyweights and all the other kind of like big profile names and whatever. But Tommy is one of my favourite fighters, okay? And Tommy, somebody who I know, he's somewhat of a pal. But yeah, I don't really do it for him. So I'm going to keep on making videos to try and get the sanctioning bodies to give him a world title shot. Make the promoters, currently like Eddie Hearn, give him a world title opportunity. So that's why I need you all to be sharing this particular video and all future Thomas Patrick Ward videos, because I want to keep on pushing it until he gets that world title shot, like we have done for other fighters, okay? So when it comes to Tommy, whether it be a super bantamweight, whether it be a featherweight, makes no difference. I mean, his last fight was at featherweight. Listen, he's a very, very skillful fighter. Not the biggest puncher in the world. We can tell that by his KO ratio. But my God, does he have some skills. Now, again, this isn't always about whether or not you think he can beat a champion or whether he isn't. It's just about getting the opportunity. I think people in boxing, when they dedicate their lives to it, he's a young man. He's like mid-20s. Okay, but he's had so many fights. He's beaten the likes of Jazza Dickens. He become the British champion and had loads of kind of promises. And the promises just never came through. But you've got Jazza Dickens, who I like, by the way, he's going to be taking on Kid Galahad for the vacant IBF featherweight world title. But yet Tommy's already beaten Jazza Dickens. So anyway, it is what it is. But when it comes to, say, we'll start off with the super bantamweight. Of course, you've got Brandon Figueroa. He's the WBC full champion and the WBA regular champion. Even though I didn't think that you could unify the regular champion. I was always told that, because when I was speaking about like a Dillian White fighting Trevor Bryan, I was always told, well, no, they can't do it. It's a unification, but blah, blah, blah. But somehow Brandon Figueroa has managed to do it. Listen, Brandon Figueroa is a fantastic fighter, okay? And the way that he beat up Lewis Neary and took it to him was something spectacular, okay? But Brandon Figueroa, fantastic champion, as I said, WBC and WBA regular champion. Now, when it comes to the super champion for the WBA, and of course the IBF champion, you've got Akmadaliev, who is a DAZN fighter. Very, very easy fight for Eddie Hearn to make, especially as Tommy Ward is ranked number 8 in the IBF. But Eddie Hearn isn't going to make that fight because, firstly, it would have to be the headliner, and ticket sales ain't going to be that good at the minute. So we need to let him know, hey, we'll watch this fight. If you put it on, we will watch it. What's that Field of Dreams saying? If you build it, we will come. It's going to be that kind of situation. Or we could look at, say, Stephen Fulton. Now, Tommy Ward, he's been number 2 and number 3 for the longest time. And yes, okay, so Tommy, he's been taking on some fighters recently that, not with the greatest win-loss record, but that's not because Tommy wants that. He doesn't want that. He wants the world title shot. But he's taken those fights because that's all that's offered to him. Again, it's all about money generated, isn't it? But he's taken those fights just so he can keep on being busy and, of course, getting paid as well. You know, this is his living. He doesn't have a second job. So him doing this against, say, maybe Stephen Fulton. Stephen Fulton should never have been the champion. Should never be the champion, not over Tommy Ward. Should never have got that opportunity. But Stephen Fulton, of course, he will be having a unification with Brandon Figueroa. So there's pretty much nothing that we can do about that right now. But the Akmadaliev fight is something that Eddie Hearn can do. He can do it. But even if, let's say, at super bantamweight, even if they can't get him a world title shot next, at least give him, say, Michael Conlan. Michael Conlan ranked number 1 in the WBO. Tommy Ward ranked number 3. Daniel Roman ranked number 2. Now, Daniel Roman, that's going to be pretty much out of the way anyway, because I think he's actually a PBC fighter. He's no longer DAZN, if I recall correctly. But Michael Conlan is a top-ranked fighter. So that's why he's ranked number 1. I'm not saying that he's not good enough to be there. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that he hasn't done more than Thomas Patrick Ward. Now, I don't know even if Tommy and Michael Conlan would even have a fight for the official mandatory position. Because, again, that's the best way for Tommy to get a world title shot, to go back to what Eddie Hearn said, to make him mandatory. That way, the champion has to fight him, and it's based on a purse split. It doesn't matter how much money it is. The champion can say, well, I want X amount. Well, what does it matter? We'll take it to purse bid. If the winning purse bid is 100 grand, then you're going to be getting paid 80 grand. Tommy will get paid 20 grand. You're going to have to fight him. If not, vacate the belt. That's why he's talking about mandatory position, so they can then take it to a purse bid without having to pay over the top kind of money where potentially they lose. Okay, that's why he's talking about mandatory position. But for me, I think that him versus Michael Conlan, I know these guys have sparred that before, but I don't know if they're friends, so I don't know if they would actually fight each other. But they're both MTK fighters. They're both MTK. In fact, Michael Conlan's brother, Jamie, is one of the top dogs at MTK. So, Jamie, do something about this. Put your brother in there with Thomas Patrick Ward. Or if not, then give Thomas Patrick Ward an opportunity. That's all we're asking for. We could look at, say, featherweight. Now, Gary Russell Jr., he's the WBC champion. I mean, again, that's unlikely because obviously Tommy's not ranked in the WBC, but they could fiddle something, can't they? I mean, they do it for other fighters, why not? Leo Santa Cruz is the super champion with WBA. I'm not even too sure if he should be super champion still, because he lost to Gervonta Davis. Okay, it was at a higher weight, but still. I mean, isn't it a case of if you move up and if you lose, don't you usually lose your belt? Not always, but sometimes does happen, especially with the WBA. But again, you've got Kanzu is the regular champion. Now, the IBF is vacant, as I already said, with James Dickens and Kid Galahad fighting for that after Josh Warrington vacated it. But Emanuel Navarette, he's the guy that Thomas Patrick Ward was chasing through for Super Bantamweight. Emanuel Navarette, in fact, I even messaged Emanuel Navarette a while ago, and he said, yeah, definitely, we'll definitely have a fight with Tommy Ward, no problem. That's about as far as it went. That's as far as it went, and he ended up fighting a couple of stiffs, is what happened. So Emanuel Navarette, again, you agreed to it, but you didn't do it. So effectively, you bottled it, haven't you? You shit your pants is what you've done. So Emanuel Navarette is the WBO featherweight world champion. So why not? Surely somebody somewhere can get him a world title shot. So anyway, I'm going to keep on doing these kind of videos until Thomas Patrick Ward gets that world title shot. You lot can help get this world title shot. All you got to do is copy this link and share it across your social media. If you've got your iPhone or any kind of phone, so therefore you can't copy the URL, all you got to do is close this video down, and instead of reopening it again, just hold your thumb over it and it'll give you the option to copy a link or share it directly to one of your social media platforms. Copy a link, send it across to your WhatsApp to all your friends and across your Facebook, across your Twitter and whatever else. Okay? So please do that for me, because if this video does anything less than 500 views, I ain't going to be happy. I know you all didn't do it. All right. Anyway, thank you very much. Drop your thoughts below. Quick thumbs up. Subscribe. Catch you on the next video.